Have you noticed you get a lot of these in criminal justice classes? We're always putting y'all in somebody else's shoes. Here's a scenario, here's a scenario. Well, the reason why is we are trying to get y'all to anticipate what it might be like in the real world to deal with very complex moral situations. If you have not given any thought to what you would do in a situation like that, you're probably going to be somewhat caught off guard when that situation actually happens. Does that make sense? I had a professor who gave us an assignment in a law class. We had to relate some aspect of the real world to the law. And so I was like, oh, I'll just do this on comic books. And this professor, instead of saying that's ridiculous and don't do that, he was incredibly supportive. The theme that we see in Spider-Man comic books is when he gets hurt and when something bad happens, he gets pushed to the edge, but he never crosses it. In some way, shape, or form, most of our students either go into some form of law enforcement, probation, parole, they go to law school. Bottom line is, you're working in some way, shape, or form through the criminal justice system or social welfare agencies to help people in need. He had the goblin at his mercy, and instead of taking that final step, he says, let's let the law handle this. The reality is that the legal system does not always protect us the way that it should. And criminal justice professionals do not always act with the best discretion or the right amount of good moral decision making. And so I think for opening up a discussion to try to create critical thinking skills within students, it might be helpful to use an example like Spider-Man. And one of the great things about comic books is it allows us to do that in a relatively safe forum through a fictional character that is very metaphorical. And so we can have these very real discussions about very real things without offending people or without getting into territory where we're directly criticizing the criminal justice system or we're directly criticizing the media or what have you.
Dr.
Cary Adkinson, yes sir. I'm a criminal justice professor.
No kidding. These people want to be law enforcement officers?
Many of them, correctional officers.
Is that,
So, yeah.
That must be fascinating
It's
for you
a
to
lot
do
of
that.
fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
College professors have a lot of influence. They mold the minds of the citizenry.
Power and responsibility. I try to keep, every time I walk into a classroom, I try to keep in mind that these are minds that are developing, and I have to be very careful with that and to teach them critical.
You're damn right. Yeah,
Yes,
that's so true.
So, yeah.
I never thought comic books would have reached the point where people with any intelligence also discuss them. Now all of a sudden everything has changed because of people like you.
I'm trying to do my best. I always tell people that, aside from my parents who were wonderful people, Spider-Man and Marvel Comics shaped my moral viewpoints and my desire to help people as much as my parents did. So
That is so good to hear. Yeah, thank you. That's
and
very
I'm not
nice.
the only one.